Hello, Umut here. Welcome to my second art journal online class video. I hope you will enjoy this video and create this beautiful page with me and learn a lot of things. In this class specifically, as you know, we will cover everything there is to know about acrylics as a beginner. Of course, there is no end to learning, but these are the basics that I tried to cover. And as usual, if you have any more questions, please email me on this address that you see on the screen. I will be very happy to answer any questions or any doubts, anything else that you would like to learn. It will be a pleasure to answer, and I hope you enjoy. First of all, the most important thing in art is to practice, to try, to experience different things and have fun. So I wish you all the fun with this video and see you soon. Bye. So welcome again. Now I have my Moleskine sketchbook, which is my main art journal, in front of me. So if you're a beginner and don't know what to use, first thing to explore is which size do you feel more comfortable with. And I'm afraid there's no other way than trying and trying. Do some tags, take an A5 journal like this, maybe buy a cheap one from your local stationery. You can buy a bigger one, A4 size. Dilutions have smaller and bigger. All brands have smaller options and bigger options. Even mini sizes, pocket size notebooks. So it's completely your journey to discover it. I journaled in many surfaces and many notebooks, and I discovered that this size, the A5 size, is the perfect fit for me. I feel most comfortable in it. And even when I work on smaller surfaces, which is supposed to be easier to feel, this for me is a better fit. But as I said, it's a completely personal choice. So this is what I work in. It has pages that are thick enough. I will show you to take water and everything. And if not, let's say you're going to work with sprays, use a lot of water or watercolor, you can always stick two pages together and continue working with thicker pages. I never journal back to back myself. I always leave one page in between, just to give me the independence to mess up. The paint seeps through the other page, or I want to poke a hole and do some creative design. So for me it's important to have that flexibility. So now that I gave my little starter tips, we can start with learning about acrylics. As I said, acrylic paints is a very versatile medium that works for many purposes, and they are relatively cheap, very accessible. There are many types of it. Even the good quality ones are very economical, so you can get a lot of colors with really good prices. So for art journaling, I find acrylics is a very good medium, and also it's permanent, so you can write on them, you can work on them. It dries fast. You don't have to wait hours and hours for them to dry. So for a starter point, I think they are much easier to manage, easier to work with, and you know, they're a lot of fun. There are many colors of them. They are still my favorite medium to use. But I acknowledge that there are a lot of types of it, there are a lot of brands. So we're going to go through them, and I will show you what I know. Since I do canvas paintings as well, I do know a lot of brands. I've tried a lot of them, and I did art journaling for like 4 years now, even on YouTube. So yeah, I'm going to tell you the advantages and disadvantages and differences between them. And again, it has to be your journey, because art journaling or any art is a personal choice for many things. So I'll do my best to teach you how to use acrylics and many differences between them. So let's start first of all with surface and gesso. Which surfaces to apply acrylics? You can apply acrylics to any surface. That's why they are very good as well. You can apply it on wood, you can apply it on paper, you can apply it on glass, any other surface. And if you feel like metals, for example, it won't adhere to that surface, but if you gesso the surface, again you can use acrylics on them. And one of the most common questions that I get, what is gesso? Do I need to use gesso? What happens if I use it, if I don't use it? So let's go over gesso before everything else. Which gesso to use is another question too. So gesso is a very basic tool, so I think you can use many brands of gesso that you see outside if you're art journaling, and if you're new, if you're a beginner, it really doesn't matter so much to me. And some people give a clear preference. I really don't, but I will show you different types of gesso and what I am using. This is my main gesso to go to, Winsor & Newton white gesso. This is white color, and there are different colors of gesso. I use this when I feel like I want more control over my acrylics. I don't want them to seep through the paper a lot, and when I believe that the paper is not a paper that I can manage them well, that they will seep into the paper. Even if they soak into the paper, it's okay, you can use them without gesso, but you will use a lot of paint, like you will waste your paint. That's why we use gesso to prepare. It's a primer, it's a medium to prepare your surface to use acrylics. When you prepare your surface, your first surface becomes very ready to use acrylic paints on them. And I will show you the difference if you prepare and not prepare, what happens. So this is white gesso, and I use this because it's easy to use. It's a reasonable price here because this is a British brand, but you can try different gessos really. And maybe don't buy so cheap, like, I don't know, own brand gessos, but there are many out there. I believe it has good coverage, and I buy a big size because I do canvas paintings on large areas. That's why I want a lot of gesso ready for me to use. But there are smaller packages. Again, if you are a beginner, if you play around, want to learn, you can buy a small package, not spending a fortune on it, and see how you feel. I always advise you to paint your surface with gesso, without gesso, to see the difference. In time you will get the gist of it, and you will know where to use gesso, when do you want to use gesso or not. I don't use gesso all the time on my art journals. Most canvases will come prepared with gesso. You will see on the packaging it says primed, which means it's gessoed already. But sometimes you want to do different things and you want to have different control, and then you can use gesso. It never hurts to use gesso, that's what I can say. And there are different types of gesso that I will show you. This was white gesso. There is clear gesso, which has no color. So if you want to prepare a surface but don't want to lose the color of that surface, say metal, wood, or a magazine page, you can use clear gesso. And there is heavy gesso, which is it's not liquid, it has a texture to it. I will show you. See how heavy it is. And you can use this gesso to create texture as well. You can prepare your surface at the same time, and then you can make shapes, create texture, and have a different effect. That's how we use heavy gesso. There is also black gesso that is very useful as well. This is the brand I'm using, and I'm using it for years and years. Nothing happened. And when you want to have a black page, for example, black art journal partly or totally, then you can prepare your surface with black, and you can have a beautiful black art journal using acrylics on it. A lot of times I use this method making canvases, mixed media canvases. I was putting everything, all the elements on it, and then I was painting all with black gesso, and then I was using metallic paints to make a shine over black, for example. So there are many uses of this, which we cannot cover in one single class, but to give you little ideas about how it can be used. So let's now paint our surface with gesso and not gesso. So let's say I'm going to gesso here. You can apply your gesso with any brush. I will come to the brushes next, which brushes to use. So half of the page now is with gesso, yeah, and the other half is not. This will the heavy gesso will take time to dry, and I need to dry this gesso as well. I'm just dropping my brush in water, and I'm going to dry this with my heat gun. I use this heat gun. Whoa. This is for embossing, drying, everything, and it has 2 speed levels. It has a protective head here that's not getting hot, which is important for security. It has a standing tool like this, and I generally use the second one because I want to be quick, but for watercolors and things that you don't want to burn, there's another speed level which is useful. After I dry it, I'm going to use my distressed paint in abundant coral. This is one of the mixed media paints around that is easy to find. Now I am taking a brush. I'll apply it directly just to show you, and I apply it to the part that I don't have. So here and here, there is a slight difference between gesso and not. It gets into the paper directly, and it will be a little more difficult for me to move it around. And I'll show you what happens with a baby wipe, which will be clear for you. It's not dry yet completely, so I can just remove it a little bit, even a lot, move it around, and this is the difference that I told you. It went right into the paper without the gesso, so I cannot move it anymore. It's a little bit harder to blend. You cannot take it off. This is not dry, that's why I was able to take it off. When it's dry, I won't be able to take it off any acrylic paint, but it was still wet so early, but yet I couldn't take it off. But here you can manipulate it for a longer time and manipulate it better and use less paint because it floats on the surface. That's why gesso is useful. Do you need to use it? Not all the time, and if you don't want to use it, it won't make a difference in the result, but the usage of it and easiness of manipulating the paint it's useful. So I hope this demonstration was useful for you. Again, try a few times yourself, using gesso, not using gesso. You will see the difference of how much paint you are using and how you're getting on with blending them. And if you're a beginner, maybe it's a little bit easier to manage acrylic paints with gesso. I am very quick with blending because I have a lot of experience, so I don't need to use gesso in all my art journal pages. But when I'm painting a canvas, I make sure the canvas is primed, and I make sure sometimes I even prime it again, because it makes life so much easier when you're making art to sell, because then it becomes important for you to use less of your expensive paints, or have more maneuver area to do what you want. But on an art journal, I feel more relaxed, and sometimes use it, sometimes don't use it. And I will show you before we switch. This is a clear gesso, so let me show you that as well. I had this gesso for ages. I'm not using it much, so the consistency is a little bit changed, but it's okay, I can still use it. Now I'll show you, it's clear. I'll show you on top of this as well. If I wanted to use it on here on a colored surface, it's clear. That's the only difference. Otherwise it's completely the same thing. And let me show you the black one. The black one is a little bit messy to use. Here it's a pitch black, really good coverage and matte look. It's not glossy, and it dries very fast. Maybe I can show you how metallics look on this. For example, I can use yellow iridescent color, acrylic color. It's yellow. Let's see. Do you see? This is an iridescent paint, and over black, of course, it's going to react differently than over white. I can show you here. So depending on what you want to do, you can have black gesso and have another beautiful look, or you can use it directly, have another look. Now let's talk about different types of acrylic paints and some brands. Of course, I tried a lot of brands in the market, but nobody can try everything. So take it with a pinch of salt that I will show you a lot of options, but if there is others that you would like to discover for yourself, of course you need to go out and buy a couple of colors and see how you like it. My advice with choosing your paint is, first, don't go and buy a big set of something, like one paint that you are not so sure that you will like. Buy a couple of colors, try it at home, see if you like it, and maybe then you can collect the colors. The second is, take a look at all the colors that they offer. If they have colors that you would like to have, because different sets of brands have different kind of colors. For example, the Illusions have very bright colors. Distress have vintage inspired, more muted colors. Some other brands like Arteza have conventional colors that are very common to find, and they are lovely. And there are different types like metallics, iridescents, and you name it, there's a lot. So you need to choose according to, obviously there's not one choice, you can go and buy different paints like me, because I love paint. Paint is my main medium. Or if you are limited in budget, etc., my advice is to check all the colors they have. If you want to invest in that color scale, and the usage of it, if you're enjoying it. So that's the point, isn't it? And another advice I would give you is, if you're going to collect many color mediums, make a swatch notebook for you. I did it here. This is my swatch notebook for many things, and I keep doing it. I have other papers for my inks and stuff that I want to do here as well, but I have all my paints here. You will see Distress, Dilutions, Americana, Golden, Paper Artsy, a lot. I swatched everything here because you will find it very useful when you want to see which colors go with each other. What do you want to use? You can go and take a look easily and decide what to use. Otherwise, you will have to go to your stash, take the paints out, check the paint, and sometimes, for example, is this a clear bottle? For example, this is not a clear bottle, so I actually don't know what color is this. It's a printed one, so I have to open and like take it out a little bit and see what it is. And sometimes they don't match because there are colors that are difficult to print, to get a true print on a packaging. So I find it very useful. For example, this olive green is printed on this surface, but when I take it out, it's much darker than this. Do you see the difference? So it's very useful to make a swatch notebook, believe me. I also have my color pencils here, all swatched, all my pastels. Really, I cannot stress the comfort that it brings me when I'm painting. Anyway, so enough of that. Now I will go through all the paints and the differences, and maybe I can make a page here for us to go through the different acrylic paints. I will write here that there is heavy body. I will go through the types and then the brands. There is mixed media, craft, they call sometimes. These are more fluid. Then there is metallic paints, metallic acrylic paints. Sorry. Then there is iridescent. Then there is also literally fluid acrylics. Then there is high flow acrylics. I'm going to show these to you just for you to learn, but these are a little bit artist quality paints and they're expensive, so we'll go through them for you to see and learn. But as a beginner art journaler, I wouldn't expect anyone to journal with these. Even I don't journal with these because they are too precious to use on notebooks, but let's talk about it when I show it. So now, heavy body acrylics. I'll show you Arteza paint. There is many brands. There's also Liquitex. Let me get it as well, actually. Yeah, here. There's also Liquitex that has nice heavy body acrylic paints. I will show you two brands here. For now, one is Arteza, one is Liquitex. These are really good quality paints. They have different sets, like set of 6, 12, 36, 48, 60, things like that, and really economical, so you can have a lot of colors at one time with a really good price. I'll show you actually my set of 60 from Arteza. Here it looks like this, comes in a box, and you have all paints like this on top of each other, and comes with a surprisingly economical price, so that's one thing to think about. They also come in pouches like this. Also, Liquitex has bigger sizes that come one by one, so that's good to try. I buy, for example, white in these big pouches because we need a lot of white. This little white is not enough for me, but definitely there is a 14 set with these pouches as well if you want to try, or you can buy these one by one. So Liquitex has same options. You can buy one by one in pouches like tubes, etc. What heavy body means is the name is on it. It's heavy, so it's not a liquid paint, it's a heavy body paint. When you put, it's like it has body and texture to it. It has good coverage, like this. So it gives you a good coverage. It sometimes can give you texture. You can use it over your stencils. When you make a texture like 3D texture, it will dry like that and stay like that. Acrylic paints, when they are dry, they are plastic, so they can take shape and they can stay like that. You won't be able to remove them. That's why they are permanent. So now I'm trying to clean my brush in water, maybe. I'm going to clean it and use this one. Very nice color. This is one of my favorite colors, bright aqua green. You will see that the consistency of each brand will be different. The colors they present to you will be different. Liquitex and Arteza are also used by artists, so they are really good quality, both of them, and they have a little more conventional colors than something like Dilutions. For example, Diane likes bright colors, so she only makes bright colors. Tim likes vintage colors, so he makes vintage colors. But these are for a larger population, so they have more conventional colors that you can make use of, but they are all very beautiful. I will also teach you how to read what's on an acrylic paint packaging. This will only come with artist quality paints, so don't expect to find it on a Dilution, because they are mixed media quality. They are not light fast, and light fastness means resistance against time, light, meaning sunlight, and moisture, heat, all these outside effects. When you paint, why is it important? Because when you paint to sell, I know it's a beginner class, but I want to tell anyway, just in case. There is no harm in learning more. When you make art to sell, you need to be careful that your colors will stay there for years and years. You cannot sell something that they will hang on the wall or use and then the colors fade. So that's why the brands that make artist quality paints give these indications on their colors, on their packaging, and it's good to know these. 3 pluses mean it's very good light fastness, which is like I think over 50 years or 100 years, something like that. I'm not sure, but it's the best quality. And then there will be a little square. These are universal signs, so it won't change from paint to paint. There will be a little square that shows you how opaque is this color. And this color is super opaque, means it will be completely opaque, and that's it. Some colors, because of their nature, doesn't depend on the brand. Some colors will be semi-transparent or transparent, more transparent. So for example, I will show you an example. This yellow green, do you see it's half filled, which means it's a bit translucent. It's nothing bad, nothing Arteza is doing or any other brand. It's the nature of this specific color, and you can see the difference that it is not covering the paper because it's a little bit translucent. And I can go on top of this color and it didn't cover this color as well. That's very simple, like it's a little bit transparent. And here I found another one, oxide yellow, completely empty. Let's see this one. I will just clean my brush. Do you see the difference? It's very translucent, very transparent. I couldn't even cover the green of this. I will show you here as well. Do you see? The green comes through completely, and it creates very nice effects. But if you know how it works, and in time with practice you will know. Let's use it on top of this. Do you see how nice? Change this color, it's on top, and I can see the color behind it. So this is how you read this, but it's still very light fast. Beautiful. And this is heavy body, so it has more texture. Heavy, the name is on it. And I will show you the brands later after we go through the types. I will show you the fluid acrylics, many brands of that, and I will just use Arteza. They have craft acrylic colors. If you see, there is no light fastness or anything because it is not. This is perfect for art journaling, very easy to manage. As you see, it's fluid. It will be very easy to blend. They have, I think, a set of 24 or 12, I'm not sure. Lots of nice colors. And here, that's the difference. It will be more fluid. And that's it. Then metallics. This is a metallic pearl magenta, again heavy body. This is also heavy body. And here it could be liquid. I'm just changing brushes every time. And metallics will be a little bit transparent by nature, and it will have a shine. So that's the metallic. Iridescent. I'll show you a purple one. Here, electric plum. I'll put a little bit. Iridescent has again, the name is on it. It will be very transparent, and it has iridescent quality, like it will shine and give different colors as you move it. I will show you all the colors of these paints later, so don't worry about it. It's just know that it's very transparent, and it gives different results on black, on white, also metallics, gives a beautiful shine that you will love. So that's the basic types of paints. Coming to this, there are a couple of things that are available as well. I have the golden versions. This is fluid paint, so it's very fluid, even more than mixed media paint, and high flow acrylics, and this is like water. Do you see? I can like shake it like water. It's liquid. These have very high pigment in them, very light, fast, very high quality, not cheap, and mostly artists use them in their paintings. That's why I'm not going to use these in today's class. I don't think it's beginner material. I use them only in my paintings, not in my art journals or any mixed media thing that I do, because I feel bad when I'm using them in a notebook. They are so expensive. At least here in the UK. In the US, I think their prices are more reasonable because they are produced there. But here they are very, very expensive. And really, even if not, I'll show you. As you see, I dropped one droplet. You will see it's very liquid, more liquid than this mixed media paint. But otherwise, you make the different effects. Why artists use it? Their usage is different. Like I use it with different tools, on different surfaces, etc. Like there are many usages. Do you see? It's like almost ink. That's how high flow it is. That's the right definition. Do you see how? By the way, it seeped. It went to the paper directly, as you see, because it's not gessoed. So for this paint and for this paper, definitely I should gesso if I'm going to use that paint. And before we move on the brands, let's talk about brushes. I will show you a few. I use synthetic brushes for acrylic painting, not natural bristles, synthetic bristles. The cheapest ones, really, using acrylic paints, I told you it's cheap, so you can go out in an art shop or wherever, find cheap brushes and use them. The only thing that to watch out is watercolor brushes and acrylic brushes are different in a sense that watercolor brushes are designed to hold water, because that's the best way of using watercolors, and acrylic paints are not. And to use acrylic paints, because acrylics have some body to them, you need to have some sturdy brush. So watercolor brushes are very fluffy, acrylic brushes are not. So you see it's sturdy, so I can manipulate my paint. And for example, there are different types of brushes. This is the basic. This is, for example, Ranger, that I use for years and years. This is Temperia, I use years and years. This is from I think this is a brush to paint the walls. Yeah, and I bought it from a Home Supplies, I think, store, but it works. It's sturdy, so I use it as well for large areas. You can buy bigger brushes. This is a small brush for details, round brush they call it, and I find it useful too. Then there is also like big round brushes like this. It's the same. There is fan brush, fan. This is also like very useful to make different shapes, or to splatter some paint all around. There are different sizes of all the brushes that I show you here. There is flat brush like this, very flat, that you use. And then I think the one I want to show you, another one that is in the water, is this. The angled brush is also useful to make angular shapes if you need, or just, you know, you can use it like this to make a flower petal. So to make shapes, this is also very useful. Also, like to go in detailed areas, it has a fine tip that's useful. So yeah, if I were you, I would buy like one of these normal, maybe a fan brush, and one detailed, and there are sets that give them all. So you can start with those options to try and see how are you using them. How do we take care of our brushes? First, acrylic paint is permanent and it turns into plastic when it dries. So you never leave your brush after using acrylics just on the side of the table. Always put it in the water, or in a baby wipe, wet baby wipe like this, to protect it. Otherwise your acrylic paint will dry. You will go through either, like, there are openers that has chemicals, you will have to open it with that, which will be expensive anyway, or you will just throw it and buy a new one, because when it dries it will damage your brush. So always put it in water. I have always like one container like this with water inside on my table. I put all my brushes there. When I finish working, I don't need to wash them immediately. When I finish working, I just go to the sink and wash them all with soap and water. That's all you need to do. It's not high maintenance, it's just keep them wet while you're not using them, and just wash with soap and water. I told you acrylics are not high maintenance. It's an economical, fun and easy to use medium. Okay, so I'll show you some paints that you can go for if you're art journaling. One is distress paints, of course. It has many colors. As you see, this is my swatch for my distress paints. I'm missing a few, but I have most of them. And they come with flip tops now. Before this, they were, I'll show you, they were like this with a sponge applicator, which didn't work. It was hard to use, and we were opening the paint like this to use, which I am doing with my spongy ones. And now it comes with a flip top. It is 29 ml. I never finished any of them in my art journaling, and I bought them a few years ago. Their consistency stays for a very long time. Probably I lost like a couple of them in all those years because they lost consistency, but it's normal. Like, these paints aren't designed to last 10 years, none of them. Acrylic paints is like a combination of chemicals and water and dye and everything, and of course, like everything else, all your art supplies has a time limit to them. Acrylics as well, so don't expect to buy something and in 10 years you will open and it will be the same. It won't, any brand. So yeah, but for years and years, I think distress is very good quality. I didn't lose many, and not many dried, and it's one of my favorites. I love the colors, but the colors you need to see for yourself if you like them. They are vintage inspired. There are some vibrant tones, but there is always a vintage undertone, so it's not ever popping in your face. Even the red ones are not like bright reds. Even the orange ones are not bright oranges. So that's the difference. But they have great browns, like muted blues, yeah, some neutral colors like antique linen and other. So for the range, I love them and I have all of them. But yeah, you need to see what you like the best. Another option is also coming to craft paint. I don't have many of these, but there is Stamperia Allegro, which is also a mixed media paint. I have very few colors, as you see. I was working with Stamperia, so they kindly sent me these. They are quite good. The same flip top. How many ml is this? 59. So it's quite bigger than the Distress one. Distress is expensive, like everything is expensive, but you know. Yeah, so it's basically simple mixed media fluid paint. That's an option, good quality. Then there is Dilutions, which they launched new colors and I didn't get. I stopped buying those Dilutions a while ago. Now she has also like this type of bottles, but they are different, like they're a little bit more translucent. I think they are not the same. They come in these jars and they are like 59 ml, again a lot. But I lost in a relatively short time. I saw that they dried, like I threw a few jars of this and I love the colors. Let's see, it was all liquid and then it becomes like, I can still use it and it's lovely, really. But for example, they had a problem with crushed grape that I had to throw. It went stone dry. If you're going to use Dilutions, and I think they are fine now, but I don't know. Diane says when you open, just spray a couple spritzers of water, close it back. It will give the moisture that you lost by opening for a while. That's her tip. It has very bright colors, so Diane likes bright colors, so she made very bright colors, which I loved. And there are some bright pastels in the range as well. So check out, if you like the colors, go for it. It's very fun to use, easy to use with this jar. I actually love the packaging. But yeah, I think I moved on to other paints, and because of the drying issue, that's it. Then there is Americana craft paint that is very common in the US, but not in Europe or UK at least. It's not as cheap. I see that this is very cheap in the US, like in Michael's, for example, it's $1, something like that. And it's very good quality for art journaling, definitely. And I have a few colors myself. This is also mixed media paint, that's fluid, sorry. So you can check it out in your stores, and they have a gazillion colors. That's an option. You can see the colors I have. I don't have a full range. Then there's Paper Artsy. That has also a lot of colors, which I couldn't collect them all. This is, for example, one. They also come with this bottle. Let's see. I think they are £3-4 here. Like, it's a UK company, but they sell everywhere. I think Simon Says Stamp has it, Joggles has it in the US. They have very lovely colors, like I love their turquoisey colors, like purpley colors, these pixie dust, sour grapes. Like I really like their colors, and I made their charts that I wanted to collect all of them, and I was swatching when I have new ones, but yeah. So that's it. Again, see if you like the colors and decide accordingly. Dina Wakely has heavy body acrylics. She likes heavy body, so she works with heavy body acrylics. She has now small versions as well, like small things like this to make it more affordable, and she had big tubes like this. I don't have them anymore because they dried. I had a few colors only, these ones. I like the lime and sky and night. She selects interesting colors. I like her color choices, so check it out if you're interested. I have a lot of acrylics, so that's why I didn't go for that. Stamperia also has heavy body. I think they are called Vivace, yeah, and the other version is called Allegro. They have a lot of colors as well. Like this is like this in a tube, and they have the heavy body versions. Again, they sent me these colors, so I have them. Good quality, nice for art journaling. This is my Liquitex 48 color set of these little guys. I like their blues and greens, as you see, but these are like conventional greens, except I think their portrait pink is really nice. Unbleached titanium, it's like a beige color that I like. This aqua green I like. Their light blue I like a lot, and light blue violet is a color that I love. It's like an light ultramarine blue. So yeah, again, it's all what you like in terms of color. This is a really good color scale. It continues here as well. Their coppers, silvers, etc. And I got their fluids. Their fluids are called soft body. They are new, and I got a few of those, but they are artist quality. And then Prima Art Alchemy Metallics are these. They come in jars. I used to use them a lot and love them. I still love them. It's very nice. Metallics. Let me show you a little bit. See, it became more. I'll show you here. Very nice. This is rich turquoise, as you can see. It's very lovely, and I have all these colors. Metallics, very shiny, very nice, good quality. Again, you need to look at their colors and see what you like. Then they have also these Opal Magic colors, which are like very light. They show completely differently on black. It's like these iridescence, and you have a different effect on white, different effect on black. Then there's silk acrylic glaze, which are in these little tubes. I think they are in the same category as iridescence. They are transparent, so when you paint you can see underneath. They don't completely cover, but I like them a lot too. In the past there was not many acrylic paints like this, so I used to collect them, but now there is more and more metallics and iridescence, so that's also one option. I think they are more accessible in the US, and here it's impossible in the UK. Then there are neons, of course. These are like my others page. This is not acrylic, and Arteza 60 color scale. I love their reds and pinks. This Bordeaux red is the color that I buy in pouch because I love. It's like a dark Bordeaux wine color. I love it. Then this mauve pale is like dusty purple. Cold gray is another that I love. It's like a blue gray, yellow green, and yeah, you just need to discover the colors that you want to work with or you love, or maybe you love everything like me. So yeah, I need to have everything. And Amsterdam is another brand that I use for my paintings. They come in big tubes like this. I think very approachable in the Netherlands. Yeah, they have very nice colors as well. But yeah, it's a bit too much for art journaling, and so I wouldn't use my Amsterdams on my art journals. These are for my paintings. These are Arteza craft paints. These ones for mixed media. They have all these colors, basics that you will need for art journaling. A couple of fluorescents, gold, silver, white, black, a gray, nice orange, nice red, couple of greens, 3 shades of blue. I love this Arctic blue. There's a dark brown that can be made light if you want. There's a lilac and rose pink. These 3 pastels I love. And a good pink, a bright pink and a purple, and a darker blue. So I think as few as these colors, they have a lot of options. Good choices. Then these are the Arteza iridescent acrylic colors, which are these. Come in a set. There's a pink that you don't see because it's very it works on dark surfaces. Peach, orange, red, very nice purple. I love this purple, lemon yellow, lime green. This blue is amazing. Yeah, so, and these are my obsessions, Arteza metallic acrylics. The colors I think are amazing. At least it speaks to my taste a lot. These are these pouches, and you can buy one by one, or they come in tubes in a set. So that's amazing. Tangerine. This I really love the colors. This turquoise, glacier blue, pearl sea green, sage green, lilac. This pistachio green, like honestly, this tulip is like a coral color, pink red. Amazing, I love them. So that's what I have, but they have more. They have gold and everything, which I am slowly collecting. So I think I went through all the paints that I have. I collected. I hope you enjoyed the flip through of my swatch book. And if you have any questions about any other brand, send me an email. I probably know them. If not, I will have a look anyway. And if you have any other question about anything else, let me know again. I hope you enjoyed an introduction to acrylics. I hope I didn't confuse you much. I hope it makes sense. Believe me, when you get a couple of acrylics yourself, just experiment, put a gesso on your page, play with them, mix colors. You will see what goes with what, and yeah, so enjoy. and I will switch to the next topic. So we're going to make our art journal soon, I promise, but before that I wanted to go through some color theory that will be important. So first of all, if you don't have a color wheel, please do get one. There are lots of online ones as well. You don't need to buy a physical one. There are apps on smartphones that if you type color wheel, you can download for free. So there's a lot of access for free as well. I just got this, it was very cheap from Amazon, mini pocket color wheel, a guide to mixing color, and I find it really useful because it tells you if you add which color you will get. Also it guides you in mixing colors, like making compositions with color. That's another very frequent question that I get. How do you choose your colors? If you take a color wheel, you will know, you will get a lot of help from it, and you will know which colors to mix, which colors not to mix, what effects you will get. First of all, I do like contrast on my pages, and maybe I can show what I mean when I talk about contrast. So this is my art journal, for example. I will open my previous class page. Here I explain there as well, and if you want to check it out, you can. I said, like, I want a jungle scene, which means I will use green. So if I see green and I want a striking look with contrast, because contrast makes a lot of interest, like gives energy and makes someone look at your page and go wow, like be impacted, but they don't know why. But why is because there's a lot of contrast. So here, if I look at green, on the opposite side there is red, orange, red. Red is directly opposite of green, but red has shades, which is pink, burgundy, all these things when you make it lighter or darker. So doesn't mean you need to use only red. You can use orange, red, orange, pink, all those colors as opposites of green. So when you look at my page, I used green as a background, but I used a lot of reds, pinks, yellows, oranges to make a contrast with green. So as a result, it pops with vibrancy. And I will show you other examples, and you may go for other looks. It's completely fine. It's just for you to decide. For example, here I made it pop with a lot of black and white among the neutrals, and then here the background is very orangey, and then it pops with blues, purples, shades of blues. And here we have orange, which is here orange, and across there is orange here, orange, blue, but also green is very close to making a contrast. So it's not a strong contrast, but it's a contrast, so it looks very nice. And also there are like light greens. You can use different shades. It doesn't mean you need to go with an orange. You can go with a red orange, which this is a red orange, and I'm using an olive green, different type of green, but still they are kind of opposites. They are not they are not the same area. So that's how you can make a nice contrast. Here again I used some very light green with a burgundy. So again a red family with a green family. is green, orange, brown, so colors that make each other pop. I hope I am making sense. I used that page reverse, but again, greens and blues, and with these earthy oranges makes a pop. Here it's very clear. Oranges and oranges, pinks make a pop with the blues and greens at the back. Black makes a contrast with all the bright colors, so it's a very good way of highlighting all these brights when you put the black inside. So today I am going to, in this color wheel, it shows you complementary colors. So when you look opposite colors to each other in the wheel, you will see what complements each other, meaning what are the opposite colors. Yellow with violet, yellow orange with blue yellow, blue violet, blue with orange. So today we are going with a blue background, which is the ocean background, with oranges. So our focal points and other things that we do on the page will be oranges. And doesn't mean orange. It can be red orange, it can be yellow orange, and this doesn't mean blue. It can be turquoise blue, light blue, all different blues. So take it like that. But it's very useful, and as a start, if you're a beginner, you can go with blue and orange, and that's it. Like you can make very simple pages. They will still look nice because you contrasted. One warning though, if you're contrasting, know that these two colors also make mud if you mix them at the same level. So if I mix a blue with a orange, it will be a very dirty brown. It won't look nice. Unless it's your intention to make a brown, go for it. And if you mix them in different ratios, like 20% of this, 80% of this, it will not make mud, it will make another color. But if you mix them at the same ratio, more or less, it will make a very nice mud. You won't like it, nobody likes it. It really looks bad, that mud. Another way to use the wheel to do art journals is you can decide to use these three colors together that are in the same family, that will look very harmonious and make a lovely background or images. You can go for a monochromatic look, you can go for yellow and use different shades of it. It will look very nice. It all depends on what you want to achieve. And also a lighter color and a darker color of the same family will make a contrast as well. So you can go for that kind of look. There are limitless options. You can make a tetrad, which means you can use 4 colors, like from here 2 and there 2. They are both like opposites. So there will be a lot of movement and vibrancy in that page. You can use a triad, which means you can use 2 from these sides. It shows you, you don't need to know it. Red and blue, and then the opposite is yellow. So yellow will be opposite of both, some kind of, not directly but indirectly. So there will be again a nice contrast in that page. And there is split complementary, so you go for this. I'm not making it up, it's just here, it shows you, so it's very useful. You can use not direct yellow to violet, but versions of it, red violet and blue violet. You can use these to contrast with yellow, which will be split complementary. So it will be, there will be more depth in your page because you used different versions of it. I don't want to confuse you a lot, but just know that the opposite sides make mud and contrast, and these colors that are next to each other belong to the same family. You can mix each other, they go very well, they are harmonious, you can use them together. Here it shows you when you add which color and get which color, and it turns. So if I add more yellow to a yellow orange, I get this, and to an orange if I add red, I have this, which is a red orange. And say if I add blue to a yellow green, I get a very nice turquoise. If I add white to a green, I get a very nice pale green. And if I add black to a blue green, I get a very nice dark turquoise. So do you see how useful it is? Now finally we are going to do our art journal. So before we do our background, let's print our images and I show you how to manipulate them. I have a Mac, so I opened Keynote, but if you have a PC, you can open a PowerPoint, and I'm just inserting. I opened an empty template and I'm inserting in my fishes. So here is one. You have 3 in the downloads. These 2 little fishies, and we have one whale, and I hope you like them. I like cute images in my art journals, and after I insert, imagine this is our art journal page. You can flip it like I do, so it can look at any direction as you want. You see here how I flip. It's in the editing tools, and you can make it as small as you want or as big as you want. A normal page that you open on a PowerPoint or a Keynote would be more or less your A5 art journal. And you can see how your printer size paper compares to your art journal size, so you can decide according to how big you want to print them. This is how I arrange. For example, if I make a composition, I'm imagining this can be my art journal page, and I'm just making them as small as I want, thinking this is a beach and ocean. And let's write our sentiment now. I just inserted the text, and I'm writing it in black. So let's write once upon a time beneath the surface. Because I call my classes art journal stories, I always imagine there's a story on the page, and today's page is under the water. You can make the font whichever you want. You will have a lot of options in your computer when you edit your text. Here I selected chalkboard, and you can make it as big as you want, increasing the font or decreasing it. Here I'm going to make it one line to fit on the page. And as you see, you can also make the background a different color if you want. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. This is the beauty of using digital stamps or computer. There's a lot of options. I can make it italic, bold, many options that I can use. Let's do something a little creative and make the O and the B big and bigger than in font than the rest of the sentiment. So you see the O is really big now, and I'm going to make the same size for the B, and I'm going to make it a capital so we can use this in 2 lines. These plays add really nice details to your journal pages, and we can also, to make it different, we can make these fonts different than the rest so they stand out. I really like this one, and let's see if there are other options. I'm just skimming through all the fonts, and there is another one like this. I think I like this better. And let's make the B the same kind of style. It will look nice. Do you see how playful it looks now with a really small change? Now that we arranged everything, I'm happy with it. I'm going to just print it as it is. One last check on this preview page and hit print. So So let's create our art journal now. We printed our fishes and our sentiment together, and they will wait for now because we're going to create our background. And for the sake of today's demonstration, I'm going to work with Arteza craft paints, which are these. And I have few colors, like they don't have 30-40 colors, so I will take out whatever I have, and I'm not going to use neons today, so I'm going to exclude them. And yes, I have these greens, gray, lilac, and all these colors, red, purple, pink, silver I'm not going to use, brown, and green. So I wanted to use a limited color palette as well to show you how you can mix and create other colors that you might want to use. So I thought I don't select a collection of mine, or like pull out all the paints that I own already, so as an opportunity to show you what other things you can create from mixing colors. So for the background we need blues, no? So I'm going to start using this, but this is only one blue. They have other two blues actually. They have three. Sorry, they got just lost somewhere. So they have 3 blues, which is really good, but still we can create other blues if you want. So let's start now. And again, for today I showed you how to use gesso, and I'm not going to gesso my page. Again, for the sake of demonstration, let's say you didn't have gesso, only acrylic paints. So that's what we will do. I'm going to just protect my pages while I'm creating the background. Sometimes it can get messy, and I am a very messy crafter. I always do something when I am working. So let's start. Always when I do my backgrounds, I start with the light and I go to the dark, because it's easier to get to make light darker than dark lighter. And if you make a mistake, don't worry, cover it with white paint. It's eraser. White paint is the eraser, or if you have gesso, even better, cover it with gesso and start again. It's not the end of the world. So let's start with this beautiful Arctic blue. What I am going to do is, I also want to teach you how to create a beach, so I'm going to leave this part as beach, and I will start from light to dark. So let's say we will have our beach like this. Then the fishes won't fit, so let's make the beach a little bit so let's leave this, and let's see how big are the fishes. We can always take this up here somewhere. So let's make a small beach, because the fishes are not small. I like my focal points to be a little bit big, so let's make a small beach here. Yeah, this is enough for our beach, and the rest will be our sea. And start with a light blue. So I'll put the paint here. This is my glass mat. A little bit here, and I'll put this one as well. Very beautiful blues. this dark one. I'm going to put white in case I want to make something lighter, a little bit. And also I'm going to put a little bit this green. It's apple green, maybe this green, forest green, and a little yellow to mix things, to see how we can create other colors. I have my sprayer ready here. Yeah, we start. I always spray a little bit water to just be a little bit easy on the creating the things. So this is a very beautiful blue. Okay, so let's mix this with a little green. If you mix blue with green, you will have different shades of turquoise. That's what I'm trying to do here. You see, I have a little very nice shade of turquoise, like in the Caribbeans. So just showing you different types of colors you can get. You see, this is a completely different color, still beautiful. And the paint is soaking into the paper, definitely. So if I had gesso, I would be more comfortable managing this paint. I'm going to put a little bit more of this to lighten it up. Let's see. I'm just showing you what you can do with your paints if you want to. Do you see now? It's a little bit more lighter. Because it dries very fast, you need to blend fast. And if I mix these, so let's say I go on like this and I excuse me, sneezing. So yeah, so now this is a nice turquoise color, very light, different than this color that we were using, but I can still use it here to make a nice variation. So the more values you use, lighter, darker, the more tones you use, it will become richer, deeper. See? Yeah. And just, if you use acrylic paint or acrylic paint after dry, it makes layers. If you blend everything when things are wet, it makes blending, so it mixes. Both have different purposes. Yeah. So these parts now are a little bit lighter. I'm not worrying about this line because I can cover it with the sand color. So now I can mix a little bit of this. Actually, I can bring the green. I'm taking a little bit green into this blue to make it turquoisey. Do you see how it changes from that blue to turquoise blue? You can do it in a palette, in a plastic plate, everywhere. Now it's a different tone that we can use, darker and darker. Do you see how different? We could use all these blues as they are. It's not a problem, but I wanted to show you how you can make shades. And this is the first layer, don't worry, it looks bad, I know. How you can create shades. You don't need to have everything, all the colors, when you are painting. And the more green you put, the more greeny turquoise it becomes. The more blue you put, the more bluish turquoise becomes. It's very nice to play with. And now I have this hard edge, which of course I don't want, so I'm going to put more blue, mix with these, and bring my green. Do you see how I can make transitions better? Again, I can spray, I can take the lighter, and if the brush doesn't work so well, you can always use your hand and make a nice transition. Look, it's much easier. There we go. If you don't want to use your hand, use a baby wipe. It will also do the job. Keep it not completely white. This also gives some texture, my hand movement. And that is too light there. Yeah. Do you see how I can take it off? It's absolutely beautiful. I love it. I think, yeah, a little bit here. A little bit. If you spray water, it makes easier to move before it dries, of course. Yeah. Do you see how nice the transition we made from a lighter turquoise to a darker turquoise using different colors actually? And oh, don't worry if I mix it with white. Yeah, it's fine. And if you use your brush to make a texture like this, it's like, it will show like it's wavy. Mix the colors a little bit, give energy. Maybe take this a little bit from here and like this. Yeah, don't be scared of doing new things. You can always put a white on top if you don't like it. Yeah, but I gave some energy at the same time. And if it's still wet, you can throw some water, and I am generous here, and it's a bit dry, to lift and create another texture there. So this is a very nice way to create texture on your pages. There are many ways to create texture, and it's a lot of fun, but it's a very long topic that I can cover in another video. So I'm going to now use a kitchen towel, dry kitchen towel, to wipe off and show you. Even if it was a bit dry, still there was opportunity to create this texture. See, we used like 3-4 basic colors: greens, blues, whites, and water to create this beautiful background. And another very easy way to create texture is to go for some splashes, which I often do. So you can just spray some water here, the colors you used, just take them, and I'm using a thin brush. Do you see? If you put the dark over light, it creates darker splashes, and if you put lighter, here are lighter, do you see, over dark, you have lighter splashes. So your page comes together, creates a nice texture already, and voila, very simple. Also, let's do some white splashes, because why not? Clean our brush. White is here. Always adds nice detail. If you want small splashes, use a thinner brush. If you want bigger splashes, use a bigger brush. The bigger the brush, the bigger the splashes. Do you see how nice already my page is? You can use any stamp to make a background. You can use stencils. If you want to give dimension, use it with a texture paste. You know, there are many things to do to enrich your background. For the purpose of this class, since we are focusing on only acrylics and make things simpler, I'm not going to use those methods, but you can watch my normal videos to see a lot of them. So now I'm going to make sand. To make sand, we don't have sand color, but okay, we have brown, espresso brown, we have some yellow. So let me clean this mess. So to make my sand, I'm going to use brown, this espresso brown, white and yellow, and mix yellow with white, with a lot of white. Let's see, more white, a little bit brown. You just need to mix your paints a lot with each other to see what they can create. They can create amazing things, I can assure you. I'm putting more white here. Do you see how it became a sandy color? Little brown, yellow and white. Now I have cream sandy color, so I don't need to have everything. It's a little bit too yellowy, so I'm going to put a little bit more brown actually, and white. You could do brown and white as well. That would give a nice result too, I guess. But I want to include a little bit yellow. You can go above this sea area. That's what happens in real life, doesn't it? I think this is too dark. I'm going to put some white before it dries completely. Do you see how I am manipulating, managing according to what I want to see? Like it was too dark, I added white directly. No panic. Don't panic ever. Worst case, we put white all over it and start again. So this is a very nice sand color now. Yeah, do you see? And because in life things are not as perfect as this, I am now going to show you another way. This is too wet. I don't want it to be too wet. So what I am doing is, oh, don't fall there. I'm going to take kitchen paper towel dry, and I'm going to take the moisture off my baby wipe. Oh, I told you I am very clumsy in creating here. Now I like it. I'm going to take it like this. I love this method because you can create many effects. I'm going to put this here, and I'm going to make some imperfections like this in normal peaches. So I'm doing some dabbing, literally. Now it looks more realistic, more interesting. Do you see how easy it was to make it? Just dabbing, creating some texture, better transition. Yeah, so much better. Little bit difference in color. I'm using whatever I have on my table. Okay, a little bit too yellow things, but okay. Okay, now I'm going to use a little bit more brown and mix it with white to dab, because the sand is not one color. There are shadows falling from the sun, all those things. I'm just washing my brush, cleaning it here. I think it's okay. I'll just mix a little bit brown with white. Perfect. And then take it with my baby wipe. Careful, I made this brown. Okay. And lightly I dab it. This gives all the shadows that the sand has, makes it more realistic. Maybe, you know, there are stones, different things. I'll mix again to make it again. There. I am not pressing a lot, like I'm cautious first seeing, because I don't want to blob like piece of brown. Like I'm doing it lightly. I take lightly as well, but I am first trying the ground and then I am pressing. Do you see? Now it's much more realistic. Yeah, now we have our sand, we have our background ready to go. Before I go for the focal point, I'm going to make some foam as well with white, so that you learn how to make foam. Again, baby wipe, take a little bit, dab it out so it's little. Here, if it was too little, do you see? This is our foam, because when it splashes it makes foam, doesn't it? A bit more. I hope I showed you. You don't need all the colors in the world. You don't need all the paints in the world. You can create by practice. It won't happen day one. Don't be discouraged. It took me a long time, but I love it, so I spend time for it. Gives me a joy to play with paint. Yeah, our splash is ready. I'm extending it a little bit to create some interest, not have a hard line, you know. There. So some parts can be a little bit more white. A little bit more, so we have these white splashes nicely. Very nice, I love it. I hope you like it too. Okay, so I have my focal points now, and you won't need any other color medium to color these. You will color it with acrylics, and you will see it's very possible to color with acrylics as well. So we need a little bit thinner brushes to manage it better. So here I have my smaller brushes, and we need to decide which color we need to use them, and we can create our colors, of course. Remember, we were going to use, so we are here, blue greens. I think we are in here, blue green area, so we can do red oranges or even reds. That will give us opposites. So let's go with those to have like really opposite colors, maybe a little bit pink even, we can see. So let's go for an orange first. I would like to maybe make the biggest thing orange and then see the rest. By the way, you don't need to fussy cut this, you can draw it back later. Acrylic paints are plastic when they dry, so you can easily draw on them. So don't worry about cutting these. I will only cut like this, I will show you, and then draw the rest. It will show you another thing, how to manage your fussy cuts. Of course, we are not going to cut these, but we will draw them. But it gives you ideas how to make playful things like bubbles, these extras. You can draw another hat if you want, and all those things. So let me take my orange, but I am going to, here you can see, mix it with red. You could use that orange alone, don't worry. You can do it. There's nothing wrong with it. I just want to darken it a little bit and create a red orange. I love red orange, by the way. And if you put water here, you're going to dilute your paint, so you can, there's nothing wrong with it. Becomes more transparent, which means you can paint with it. That's how we paint with acrylic paints. And try before you see. I'm trying. Maybe it's not even transparent enough. We shall see. here a little bit water. Yeah, I'm going to color this part all. I don't care about the circles. When you print your images with a ink printer, not laser jet, it sometimes smears, so you need to be just careful. For example, I'm not going to, these blacks, I'm not going to like just paint over them a lot. The others are fine. And otherwise, using matte medium and everything, just have a dry brush. Just be gentle. Every medium, everything you do might have disadvantages, but if you know how to overcome them, it doesn't mean you don't need to use them. If you know what will cause what, then you can easily avoid it. If you want to have a lighter color or darker color, you can just dilute your paint. For example, I can have a lighter color here. If I want to do shading while I'm painting, I can do all of those things. It's possible to do everything. I'm just painting. By the way, if you want to buy Arteza paints, I have discount codes that are relevant until June sometime, but they renew it, so I will leave it on the pack that you bought and you can use them. And if it doesn't work by the time you do it, just let me know. Maybe I have a new code and I can give it to you. Just send me an email. I'm just going lighter now because it's easier to go darker later than this. Except for the black dots, you don't need to like go around all the spots here. I'm just trying not to move the ink off the printer a lot. Yeah, I think we are done. Easy. I'm going to just make this part darker and yeah, blend with the rest of it. It's kind of like watercolor what we are doing now, but it will be permanent, so we're not going to deal with moving paints afterwards, which is the nice thing about acrylics. Of course, watercolor has very beautiful look of it. Every medium has beauties of their own. That's what I believe. But I guess everybody has their favorites, the things that they feel more comfortable with. And I love acrylics. Doesn't mean I'm not using watercolor at all. I do. I'm going to make this darker. And don't worry if you cover the spots. I don't at all. We can draw them back. They're not, you know, piece of art. They're just polka dots. I'm just trying to make the blend from dark to light. So I'm going darker here and trying to go lighter. I'll take my time and make it nice. Also to teach you properly how to make shading while you're painting. Do you see how it goes from dark to light? And let's do it in the tail as well. Make this darker. And I have a baby wipe next to me, so when I want to wipe it off, I wipe it off and go for a more watery part and take it from there. Do you see? And then, for example, this part is supposed to be more shadowy, and then I wipe it off. I take it to the and more watery. Yeah. So now there is, and for example here, supposed to be a little bit shade under the arm now, a little bit, even more. To me this is very relaxing as well. Like, don't take your time, don't rush. This is your hobby, is it not? And I'm going to draw a little bit shading here too. It looks very one-dimensional. Then now here, watery, there. Yeah, now I like it. Very nice. Cool. Now we painted this, and we will decide the hat later. Let's paint this red. No, yeah, bright red would be nice, so we use it as it is. Maybe this red, yeah. I need more water here. Because, let's see, test it. Nice. I can go outside the zone because I'm going to cut it. Doesn't matter. I'm just being gentle, take care of the eye, and I'm painting all the details because I can paint over. After it's dry with different color, it will cover it. I can make them white, which will be nice. Look how easy it was. Now I'm going to make more red here and then dilute it out. As I said, don't care if it goes outside of your page. We are going to, now there is shading. Let's do some here too, on this, and water again, and that's it. And I'll do the same to the tail. Take a little bit more dense, then clean water, I think. It's good enough for that. So we did the basic coloring. Yeah, I think this part of the tail needs to go, and a little bit more extension here. I printed my images on regular cardstock, by the way. You can also use watercolor cardstock, anything you want. And this now, let's make a pinky, no? Maybe this, and we can mix some orange with pink. Let's say this and this. What color they make? Still very orangey. It's a corally color, so we can use this, yeah. So pink and orange makes this beautiful coral color. And let's put some water and use this. Let's see. Do you see the color? It's very nice. I think if I put a little bit more pink, it will be more different than orange. Let's see, because I want more pinky. It all depends on what you want. Let's see. Yeah. I like this color. Water, dilute it. Yeah. I'm going to color the body. And maybe these different colors. What do you think? Maybe we can make them a dark orange. Let's see if we bring a little bit orange here and mix with yellow. Very light orange. I think it will be nice. Yeah. Again, we can draw the blacks back. You can draw the I love that she's like sleeping. And here we go. I think I need to use a little water to just smoothen it up. Yeah. There we go. It's very small, so hard to make some shading. I brought some yellow actually to this part. I don't know, to create some lightness here. So you can do these things. I'm touching very lightly, gentle. And yeah, you can go back, take the orange, where is it? Paint it back. I can bring a little bit yellow here too, here. I think that's okay. I'm not going to play a lot because this is a small fishy. And then we can make these bubbles yellow after we stick it. You will see that I will do many things, and maybe I can You can go through this again too. Yeah, okay. I think, I forgot this part. Which color shall we make it? I think let's make it yellow, no? Or we could make it really blue, like light blue. But okay, let's keep to these colors when in our fishies. Let's make it a little darker here, so it has some shading. Again, a little bit. Yeah, you will get the gist of it with practice, I promise. Everything is practice in life. If you're new to something, it's normal not to have the same effects at first. I didn't as well, but you will have it in time. We'll cut it white. So the hat, I'll do the hat after I stick it, because I want to see the color coordination. So I'm going to fussy cut these first and then come back. I think for that you don't need to watch it. So I cut my images, very simple, took me 2 minutes. I'll give you a tip. When you cut your images, just go around it with a black marker. I'm using Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pen in black with a brush tip. So I'm just, but you can use any other marker you want, just black, and go around the edges to get rid of the white edges. Then it looks much better cut. It hides your mistakes, and white edges doesn't look good on your journal. It shows, so it looks amateurish. But we are professionals. So we need to do this. I'm going to do it for others too. I won't bore you with it. I will put these images to see where they fit. We did a nice arrangement in size. We can put this here as well, and then let's see how our sentiment fits. So I'm going to cut it as well. If you have a paper cutter, which I do, but I don't want to use it for now, you will have a perfect impression, like straight line. But it's okay, I don't use it normally as well. I'll cut it in the middle to use it in 2 lines. I better cut it from the V. If it's not straight, it's okay. I don't mind, honestly, and it's not straight for sure. Look, I'll correct it a little bit. Here, it's okay. I'll cut it beneath as well, so it looks on a balance. Nobody will be able to tell that unless they have eagle eyes. I'm going to cut this. A bit like this. Yeah, I think it's good enough, really. Okay, so let's see. I think I want to use like this. Maybe the fish can come like this. Keep things simple. I'm using matte medium. This is PBO, but you can use any brand, doesn't matter. I'll just make it like this so it looks nice and more energetic, like it's swimming. Remember, acrylics are only the ink is moving a little bit, but acrylics are permanent, they are not moving. Just try to use a paper towel to hold your images so you don't make a mess. This is fine. I'm just trying to cover it too so we can that's it. Okay, then you can stick this one. I'm just putting the glue directly on surface, which is another easy way when you have acrylics. I love the fishies. There. Okay. And actually, I'm going to use a glue for this. This is Nuvo glue pen, because I don't want to mess the white. And you can use matte medium too, but I think if you want things pitch white, and if you have printed something, it's safer to use glue and not go over this. You can just use some heavy things to make them stay. And make sure your hands are off it too. Yeah, this is a very simple setup of an art journal. I've done more complicated things, so you can see a lot of art journal pages on my YouTube channel if you want to see more techniques. This is for a beginner level. And using limited supplies, so that you don't have to have a lot of things to make an art journal page. So let's see which color I want this to be. Maybe I can make it pink. I didn't move this from my table so that I could use it if I want to. There we go. We need to decide what to do with the details. The eyes are fine. We can, for example, make these very pink, and I'm taking the same pink. You can even make them multicolor. It's your fish in the end. No one is going to judge you. So you can make things as colorful as you want, as much as you want. That's the beauty of art. Then I can make these yellow so that it pops. I just took too much. They are too small, so let me take a thinner brush. You see how it stands out? Because I can layer it when I have acrylics. I'm going to put yellows, and then I can draw back the blacks if I want to. I can even make some dots in the tail with yellow, because why not? Yeah, I think it looks very cute. Then here need a lighter color, and maybe I can make it yellow too then. Yeah. So now, for example, I can give the blacks back. I'm using a Micron normal black pen. So here, now that it's dry, I can draw the blacks back. If you don't have this, you can use other pens. Yeah, here, 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 and then I can just give the lines back if they are covered with acrylics. Just showing you these things so you can execute these lines back. Maybe you want them more back. Here, here. I think this is the most covered fish when I used acrylic paints. And here I can put this. I think this hat is fine. Here. Oh, these are here. I think the rest is fine. Maybe this line a little bit. That's it. It was quite well preserved. And I'm going to just draw a simple line just to make it more exciting, like a sketchy line around my sentiment. You don't have to do this if you don't like the look of it. I do it to make it more playful, and I think it looks better Doesn't look like it's glued down now. And we can draw the movements. Yeah, looks more realistic. And if you want to make the flowers here, let's make them yellow so they stand out. I'm using the back of my brush and I am just making dots around. I think it looks cute. Then you can draw the thing that I had in the... So you can make a lot of details like this. I'm just taking my white gel pen. I'm using Uniball Signo broad tip, which is the highlight. It needs to be broad tip to make some highlights on the fish. If you don't have this, which I strongly suggest to have because you will use it all the time, you could make it with paint with a very thin brush too, which I will show in a minute. So it will just look everything much more better, sketchy, more playful. I don't care where the light comes from, I just draw it. Here. Yeah, and I'm going to make, so let's say I didn't have it, I have a very thin brush, and where's my white paint? Here I put a little bit on my table. Oh, I put too much. You could do here, for example, on the hat, you could do like this, very lightly. Do you see? I did it with paint and brush. So now I'm going to do some bubbles like I was doing with white, and some of them can be clear. I think it adds again playfulness. Some of them can be filled, some of them can be empty. One can be here, one can be here, and then you can make little ones for this little lady. You can attach a couple of them, and here, see, I am attaching sometimes to make it more interesting. And they don't need to be perfect shape because bubbles are not perfect shape. It's enough. So you can leave the page like this. I will do white splashes in the end, but if you want to have, let's say, a little bit more interest, we could do a couple of plants here, which I will show you, and maybe a sea star here. That will make it more interesting. So anyone can draw what I am drawing. Let's say like this. This is just to give definition. I'm going to paint over this anyway. Just maybe little leaf like this going behind. That would be nice. And maybe here. little bulk here, and then we can do a sea fish here. This is my easy way of drawing a star. Sorry, not sea. I can paint now. I'm going to use a little bit greenish, this color, and maybe the other color. I can mix them to make a I'm mixing them on my table, and I'll just draw directly. I don't care so much. Just free your hand, paint, it's okay. This will be behind the other sea plant, you will see. These are like green thingies. And you can take darker to make variation, or we can just the less perfect it is, the better it is to me. So just don't get scared, just paint. That's my motto, just paint. And I'm doing some bips and bobs just to give them a surface as well. We're just playing, remember? There's no right and wrong in art journaling. I'm using a little bit white to open the color. Just give it the highlights here. And I'm going to use some red to make this plant. Mix it with oranges here, yellows, you know, so that it's not one color, to make it more interesting. Again, red. Do you see I'm creating like it makes it more realistic as well if you mix the colors. Do you see? Yeah, it's very nice. Some pinkish, mixing it with the orange. I'm using what I have on my table from before. Nothing sciencey, nothing difficult. Taking the colors and painting weird shapes, which are sea plants. There we have now sea plants, different colors. And to do the highlight, let's take some yellow and make a little bit highlights. You see, it brings some lightness and brightness. Let's do it on the plants too, these greeny things. There. Very abstract, but they are there. And I'm going to do a reddish sea star here too. Let's say it stays behind my sentiment. Not perfect at all, which is nice. We don't want perfection. Then I mix it with pink to make it more interesting. I know it looks a bit messy now, but do not worry. little orange, little more pink. I'm just taking the same colors. If you use the same colors again and again, there is no possibility that it will be unbalanced. I'm just using the same colors and giving some more things to look at in the page. You don't have to do this part if you don't want to. I told you it's not necessary. I just wanted to show you, like, you can also paint directly some images. Now let's have some lighter colors. No, orange, yellow, to like too much yellow, to do some shading, give definition. Yeah, I think it's enough. We have it. Now I'm going to dry this as well, and I'm going to make details after it's dry. Maybe you can make some, you know, dots here and there to make them like the fishes, because they all have like black details. That's what I'm trying to match. Maybe they are sea cactuses. Yeah, now they have matching lines, and we can make our star like this. Give some nice lines. I am being sketchy, not perfect at all, and I'm going to erase all the pencil that I didn't paint, which is fine. And I think it's nice now. Like, do you see how big a difference it made? Coloring, painting a couple of sea things, it makes richer. Yeah, the last thing I will do is just splash some white with a thin brush. I don't want to, at least let's see first, without covering everything. I'm just spraying some water in the white that I have here. It's nice. I think it's the right brush. This just ties everything together. And it gives a lot of energy, movement. I love doing splashes. Okay, I'll just do the highlights to my star with this white gel pen tool, and to my plants. And another tip is, if you want to do waves, you could use your finger or wavy wipe. Let's try. I'm going to take the moisture off this a little bit and find a white area. I'll do it with my hand first. You could just do like this to create some movement. This is a little bit too watery now, so I will take as if you can go over your fish too. as if they are swimming and creating movement. And if you're scared, don't do it at first, like scared of the mess, because acrylic is, as you know, you cannot take it off after it's dry. And I can, if it's wavy like that, you can make this as well. So they are all swimming. You can use different colors to do this too, lighter blues. You can do wave here. You can do wave anywhere you want. I feel more in control with my hand, but if you want, you can use baby wipe for sure. Okay, the wave here, a little bit. I think it looks much better, the page, with this movement. But oh, I knocked the paint out with a little bit watery. Even so, I'm showing you different things that you can try, but you don't need to do everything at the same time. Okay, so I think we are done with our cute page. I hope you enjoyed it. I love how it looks. It's simple, yet with the contrast and with the movement we created, it's very beautiful. The sand is realistic, and the foam and everything. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have questions, please don't hesitate to send an email to ask. And thank you so much for your purchase. I hope you enjoyed it, which is the most important of all. You had fun creating it, and see you in another class. Thank you.